Good afternoon, everyone. We are Citronaut Construction representing UCF and presenting on the EPIC. I, Annabelle Manriquez, will be the project manager, Austin Haven as the project superintendent and representing quality control manager, Alden Gunder as the lead estimator, and Juan Pablo Gomez as the safety manager. Citronauts Construction has 20 years of commercial work experience throughout the whole country. What makes us stand out the most from our competitors is our employees' deep dedication to safety, trailblazing technologies, and devotion to serve the community. We have an understanding of the Texan community, the history, the people, and the culture. This sense of community allows us to gain an immersive exposure to all local and state codes, as well as regulations. Our vision is to provide the highest value of construction management and technical expertise. Many of our employees have civil engineering backgrounds, giving us an upper hand from our competition. Additionally, we've been awarded #1 in quality in the Southeast region. So to start off, we have our previous projects. As you can see on the left, on Green Street is a multi-use building containing garages, retail, and offices quite similar to the EPIC. Davenport, right in the middle, contains covered parking on the first floors and offices on the top floors. The Assembly, a project that we're currently working on and almost near to delivery date, is located right in Deep Elm as well, containing a large amount of glazing and concrete superstructures. All these recent projects gives us experience to complete the EPIC successfully. Now I'm going to hand it off to our passionate quality control manager, Austin Haven.
All right. The two philosophies that we embrace to achieve our outstanding level of quality assurance is the promotion of the mental health of our workers and the use of advanced technologies. This allows us to identify and fix any potential issues long before they happen. This proactive strategy ensures that the project stays on schedule and within budget. We know that quality work comes from workers in good mental health, so we take extensive measures to ensure that our workers are eager to do a good job. First and foremost, we have an in-house mental health counselor who's dedicated to ensuring that our quality assurance practices promote positive mental health. We also want our workers to feel safe, so we've taken extensive measures to protect them from the spread of COVID-19, providing hand washing stations, and handing out free reusable face coverings. We also want our workers to feel appreciated, so several times during the construction of our project, we host a locally catered lunch or sponsor a free food truck for everyone on site. This level of support enables the effective communication needed to have the best quality assurance team in the industry. Now, I want to shift your attention over to the technology. Citronaut Construction is on the forefront of technology in the construction industry. Other companies wish they had the tech that we have. There's 3 key elements that enable our level of efficiency. For data collection, we have Boston Dynamic robots and DJI drones equipped with LiDAR sensors and 360 cameras. Investing in this bleeding edge technology has huge advantages, such as using the drones for the inspection of window installations rather than putting people on risky cranes or window washing platforms. Next, our integrated modeling software is comprised of machine learning algorithms that use this data to make extremely accurate 3D point cloud models of the job sites. And our teams are easily able to use these models to identify any potential clashes and easily modify them. These models are easily accessible by everyone on our team through our centralized project management application called CitroHub. We're the only company with this application because we made it. It's the perfect tool that allows our teams to be more efficient than all of our competitors. Our quality control teams are able to do inspections virtually from any time or location. Our project managers are able to organize site logistics easily and efficiently. And to make sure that CitroHub can be utilized to its full potential, each individual on our team, including the owner, has a custom user interface fit for exactly what they need to do. Now, I'm going to hand it over to our expert estimator, Alden, who's going to talk about the project cost.
Thank you, Austin. Hello, everybody. We broke out our project cost analysis into 2 separate pie charts. On the left is our estimate, and on the right is our final GMP cost to the owner. These pie charts consist of the 4 major categories of the budget, consisting of the direct cost, contingencies, risk and bonds, GCs and GRs, and finally, our fees. Our estimate came in at around $142 million, and our final GMP cost to the owner came in at $102 million. We were able to achieve this number by working extensively with a diverse database of subcontractors, by working together to implement new construction methods and technologies, adjust project scopes, and assign multiple divisions of work under one subcontractor. This ultimately saved the owner a substantial amount of money. Next, I want to talk about our schedule. We broke out our schedule into a work-based structure revolving around the site and different section levels of the building. This helped us charge on in a more logical, linear progression, overall making it easier for our team and the subcontractors to understand, to agree, and fulfill the schedule. I want to move on to our site logistics plan. This is phase 2, our superstructure site utilization plan. This is one of our 3, and I wanted to emphasize phase 2. To start off, this plan was designed for deliveries and erection of superstructure materials, glazing, and mechanical equipment. To keep everyone safe on site, we designed a traffic flow marked in red. This allowed for easy deliveries and safe personnel use around the site. Next, we designed a quick dumpster lane for marked in blue, where they can enter at Elm Street and exit at Pacific Avenue. Marked in bright green is our dirty work area, aka our portable restrooms, which would be clean and sanitized every single day. Lastly, we have our Hammerhead tower cranes, 2 of them at either end of the building, which cover the entire area of the building and lay down areas to produce a safe and swift erection of the building. And now we have Juan Pablo Gomez to talk about safety.
All right. Thank you, Alden, for that. My name is Juan Pablo Gomez, and I'm the safety manager for this project. Before I start talking about safety, I'd like to tell a story of why I'm so passionate about safety. Back when I used to work in the trades myself, I had one of my best buddies had a tragic construction incident, which that I saw with my own eyes. Ever since that day, I've been super passionate about safety. So let me talk about this. My #1 priority is that my workers return home safe and intact and ready for the next day of work. This effort is reflected in our incident rate of 2.1, which is 25% less than the industry average. And our experience rating is 0.77, with the average being 1. This experience rating helps with our insurance premium, as we are deemed more safe. Implementing safety on the work site, we do inspection checklists for equipment before using it. We also follow manufacturer's recommendations, which is very important with high liability items such as the tower cranes that we will be utilizing. So we follow those load charts to the T. And also for high liability, we do risk evaluation using activity hazard analysis forms. And in terms of COVID-19, we exceed CDC guidelines and encourage all our workers to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Technology, how we use technology to implement safety. Our hard hats have GPS tracking on them and an emergency button on the side, which when pressed will notify me with Citro Hub. I could see the location of this emergency and the identification of the worker, so I could act as promptly as possible to assess the situation. Citro Hub also gives us heat maps with the GPS on those hard hats, where we could do contact tracing of COVID if COVID were to ever appear on our worksite. LiDAR is also equipped on our mobile equipment, which helps with collision detection and has significantly reduced those incidents from ever happening. And to finalize, I'd like to invite my crew back for our closing statements.
Thank you so much for considering Citronauts Construction. Our expertise in safety, technology, and community involvement proves that we are the best company for this project. Now,
let's build something epic.
Now, I would like to open up to questions. Thank you.
Great job, guys. Way to go. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the judges. Amanda, I'll start with your team.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Good job. Couple questions for you. I was looking at your milestone schedule submitted with the step 1 proposal, and it looks like you have the glazing install really in a 1-month time frame, which seems extremely quick. Can you intend if that's accurate or how you intend to achieve that?
Yeah, so with speaking on the glazing, so pretty much we had oh well, thank you so much for the question actually. So regards onto the glazing, we pretty much had like everything suited up for completion as the whole project. So we have a large amount of subcontractors for the glazing, so we're planning on to complete it in that small amount of time.
Do you see any safety concerns with that amount of people working on one scope?
So right now, we do not have any concerns with that since we already have a lot of regulations on throughout the whole project. And we have already evaluated the risks on this.
Okay, great, thank you. Question on your small business participation. I didn't really see it hit on in the presentation, but can you tell me what percentage you are achieving and what scopes are helping you achieve that small business goal?
Yeah, so for regards with the small business, I'll hand it over with Alden to speak on that.
Well, I'd love to answer that question. With regards to our MWBE, not only are we a minority-owned business, but we hired our concrete subcontractor to secure that position and to secure a 15% rating so that we qualify as a certified MWEE project and small business. Thank you. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you. And I got one more question before I hand it off to the other judges. You mentioned the hard hats with GPS. Are you going to be providing those hard hats to each trade partner, or are you expecting trade partners to purchase these specialized hard hats?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So I'm gonna hand it out to Juan Pablo with our technology, seeing if who needs to be involved with that.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Here at Citronaut Construction, we invest ourselves in all this technology. We think it's very important as it promotes the safety and efficiency of actually doing this construction. So this is all investment from us, that there's no need for extra charge from any of our subcontractors.
So your estimate that you submitted includes the cost for you to provide one of these hard hats for every tradesperson?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, great. With that, I will hand it off to Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, so I got a couple questions on your estimate. I was looking at your site utility plan, or your site utilization plan, I'm sorry. And I kind of looked at your estimate as well. And you guys have about $150,000 for busing, but your contractors and your subs are going to be across the street from the job. So what are the buses for?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So I'll hand it up to Alden Gunnar, our estimator, to give you more in detail on that.
Thank you for your question. So during peak hours or peak maximum personnel use on the job site, we are going to have to use remote parking, which is several miles away or can be several miles away from the project. So we wanted to provide busing for those employees and subcontractors to get to and from the job site efficiently and safely. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So I have another question for you. It's what's within the estimate. So the woodworking consultant, what exactly is his role and responsibility?
The woodworking, he would be responsible for all the casework or any backing or structural wood, if there are any structural wood components of the project.
Okay. And then lastly, I see that you guys have 2 tower cranes. You guys kind of talked through those, but you also have a crawler in your GCs. What's the crawler for?
The crawler would be used for any heavy equipment moving around, or heavy concrete, or it'd be used to like move like heavy equipment or materials around the job site to different locations or lay down areas.
Okay. Well, that's all I've got. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Brant. Great job on the presentation. Cool ending as well. So that's neat. Quick question: what's your biggest risk? The number one biggest risk to go perform this job?
For our biggest risks for that, I'll take it on for Juan Pablo, our safety.
Yeah, the biggest risk always in construction, being like the leading industry average in incidents, of course, is safety, always, especially with a structure so high and so much steel and glazing. But of course, we've evaluated those risks, but those would be the top risks.
Okay, thank you. And then kind of touching on a question that Amanda asked you guys earlier about your duration for glazing installation. What do you plan with that rapid of a schedule? What do you plan to do from a fabrication standpoint to make sure the material is ready to support the field?
Yeah, so to make sure, thank you, and to make sure with the timing for the glazing, I'll take it down for estimating for Alden Gunder.
With our expertise in building buildings that require large amounts of glazing, we have developed relationships with glazing contractors and work with them on schedules and their abilities to provide glass on time and on schedule. So we worked with our winning subcontractor. Early on, we worked with the owner to get a glazing contractor on board for this project, enabling us to have the materials ready to go and erect on time and on budget.
Okay, and then one other question, just on that same thought, and that's my last one. Do you guys have the space on site to store all those windows to install them that quickly? Or do you have a plan for that? Like if erection doesn't go as planned, you got to store all that material. Is there room for it?
So we try our best during the time that the materials will be delivered to adjust accordingly. Our maximum glazing loading or storage will be about 80%, and we will have trucks ready to go whenever storage becomes available.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, this is Tommy. I've got a question or two related to the estimate. So looks like with the GMP pricing, you all were able to find some pretty substantial savings coming down from 142 million down to 102. That's still a little bit above where our target budget is for the project. Have you identified any opportunities for VE that would help us get a little closer to the budget?
Yeah, so on how we can get closer to the VE, I'll take it on again with Alden Gunder, our estimator.
With new technology coming out, again, I want to touch on a point of our glazing. We have talked with our glazing contractor on new ways to adjust the insulation of the glazing in certain areas of the building based on sunlight and radiation areas coming in and the shadows from other buildings reflecting onto our building. So we are thinking of new processes of putting insulated glazing in prime areas where sunlight is going to be coming in, and using less insulation in areas where the majority of the building will be shaded from other structures. Also,
okay.
with construction, with our concrete, we actually bought out our concrete subcontractor shortly before bidding the project. So we were able to make some savings there as well.
Okay. Thanks for that. With the glazing insulation VE idea, have you all identified a ROM, a rough estimate of what potential savings might be there?
We would see roughly $250,000 to about $500,000 in savings.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Looking at your GCs, I had another question. It looks like you have about $11,000 in there for the building permit. Can you elaborate on how you came up with that value, and then are you confident that there's enough there to cover it?
So our experience and work with the Texas community, we have developed relationships with the community there, and over collecting many permits over the years, they have helped us out in providing lower cost for our permits.
Okay.
So yes.
All right. If you find that your permit costs come in higher than that, is that a cost that you all would absorb, or would you look to us to fund a change request on that?
So that is something that we would take on in-house. We would not make the owner pay for those costs.
Okay, very good. I've got another question for you on safety. Adjacent to the job, we've got the Dallas light rail tracks lines. Can you elaborate on specific means and methods you plan to put in place to protect those lines, to keep construction from interfering with them, or an accident from occurring, if something were to drop?
Sorry, could you repeat the first part?
Yeah. With the adjacent rail lines that run adjacent to the property, how are you all planning to protect those from any, construction debris or anything like that?
I see. Thank you for that question. So with the trail, I'll put that with Juan Pablo to give you more details on the safety.
All right, excellent question. So our plan, what I've discussed with my safety team, we will do everything possible, high visibility, barricades, fencing, to keep the public as safely as possible and not get into the way of them, which is always our number one goal. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
All right, judges, it looks like we've got about 3 minutes left on time. If we've got probably time for one, maybe two more questions.
Yeah, this is Jake. I'm good on the questions. You guys answered a lot of the questions I had written down. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. I do have one more then. I'm not hearing any from the other judges. We realized on the bid form that we did not give you a line item for general liability insurance to break that out. Can you confirm if you have general liability insurance included in your number? And if so, advise, ballpark figure of how much?
Yeah, so for giving for more of that detail, I'll hand it off to Alden Gunder, our estimator.
Oh yes, we implemented those costs into our risk rates and through our subcontractor insurance ratings. So we wanted to inform all of our subcontractors of this cost and ensure that they implemented them into their bids.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you. So with that, I think we'll call it a wrap. Great job, UCF team. Appreciate all the hard work and effort you put into it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Haley, I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, wait. Ask if we're good to leave.
Are we good to leave?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
you
can-
are. So
can
if you
log
could
off your-
Yep.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
log
Sorry.
off as a panelist,
I got unmuted.
and then if you want to log back in as an attendee to watch any of the other presentations, you're welcome to.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.